Hello, this is Andrea with the ADS Agency, here to bring you the very best in marketing and branding tips, as well as business tips for those of you who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and personal branders. Welcome, and thanks so much for being here. In the last video, we were talking about how I'd like everyone to look back on their 2018 and think about your accomplishments. Not what you didn't get done, not the many things you wish would have happened, but what actually happened, got done, happened to you, that you did, that was great, that was good, even if it was small. We want to list those things, and those are the things that can propel us forward into 2019. So what are the things that we accomplished in 2018 that we can look back and say, man, that was an awesome year. You're so grateful for these great things that happened, and let that positivity push and propel you into 2019. Okay, so that is the plan, and do not forget about your gratefulness journals. Really want you to do those. So I did start mine, and I will show that to you momentarily. So don't forget your gratefulness journals, and also a couple little housekeeping items. Don't forget also, if you're still shopping for people and you're not sure what to get them, because I know I get in that place too where I'm like, oh, what should I get in, Deborah? I don't know. Go look on our ADS Christmas wish list and also our entrepreneur wish list. So we have one for entrepreneurs and then for the general public. So have a look at both of those. Really great, wonderful ideas, especially on the ADS Christmas wish list. If you're wanting to get some cool items that are really neat, unique gifts, those are full of some shop small business ideas and things that you can take advantage of, okay? All right, so 2018. First, if you've been a part of following us in all this, you would know that as of last year, we asked people to think about a word for their year, your one word for the year. Last year, mine was purposeful. And I was just talking to my sister Nicole about this. Some of you may have seen her on a couple of videos before. She was on the first year, she was on this year. And so I was at Nicole's house the other day, and she was like, I don't remember what my word for the year was. So she was like, help me remember what my word for the year was. So we'll have to do better than that in 2019 of keeping that word fresh in your mind. It was always fresh in my mind, but I think it's because the one word thing was so big in my world, but it's not always so big in everybody else's world. So let's think of some ways that we can help incorporate that one word throughout the year. I've seen people do t-shirts as your one word. That could be a cool way to do it. Would love to do one word t-shirts with you guys. That would be fun. I've seen bracelets out there for one words. Those are cool too. So let me know your thoughts below about what you think we can, what ideas would be helpful to keep our one word at the forefront. Maybe the one word is on the front of a journal, of our gratefulness journal that we use all year, So speaking of which, I'm pretty certain, unless I could change this, but I'm pretty certain my word for the year is going to be grateful. I kind of want it to be the phrase sono gratis, which means I am grateful in Italian. That was like my shirt. I'll have to show that to you for Thanksgiving. It was sono gratis, which is I am grateful. And I kind of want that to be like my thing for 2019. But if it has to be one word, it's going to be grateful, or grata in Italian. So I think that's pretty much going to be my one word. And from our last video, you will know it's because there's such a strong correlation with gratefulness and joy. Oh, yes. If you missed that video, go back and watch it from Tuesday. I still love it. Yes. Okay. So gratefulness, and that's what I want for all of you, is a year full of joy. Because that's what life is really all about, is joy. But what are the things that bring us joy? So much of that is gratefulness, being grateful for what we've got, being grateful for where we are in life. So let me get off my grateful soapbox, because I can so easily be pulled into that gratefulness soapbox. But looking back, let's look back on our 2018. I want you to look back on your 2018 with me. So comment below as you're thinking back about your own year, what were some of the things that were awesome, that were amazing, that were really cool that happened, even some small things that were cool that happened. Think back, reflect back on your year and share that with me. I want to know, I want to hear about like the cool stuff that happened in your year. I have a couple of cool things to share with you. I'm pretty certain I'm not done thinking about my year, but I'm going to share the beginnings of that with you. So number one was this stuff right here, YouTube, and getting a podcast going on iTunes and all that. I did not plan for that, nor think that was going to happen. And it has become one of the biggest, most impactful things in my year. I love doing this. I mean, if nobody watched these videos, I would still love doing them because it's just something that has become now a habit. It's something that I look forward to doing, and being thoughtful about with you and what could bring you joy or what could be most helpful to you. For those of you who are in my audience and who watch this, you know, I enjoy thinking about what could bring you value. You can always share that in the comments below, you know, the kinds of videos and stuff you'd like to see. But YouTube was not in my radar. I only fell into it really because I was starting to put stuff on YouTube really because of Facebook. In 2017, I was doing Facebook Lives. I was all in the Facebook Live world because Facebook Live was a thing. It's still a thing. And I was like, right, my marketer mindset is going off. And I'm like, I need to learn this world because it's big and it's going to be big for my clients, but I got to figure it out before I can start telling my clients about it and recommending it to them. So I went into it, you know, kind of head first, like, let's figure out this world. I can make myself not be afraid of live video, you know, because we all have that like, you know, a little bit of like fear, jitters about live video. It's just so different from any other platform, from public speaking, from this recorded video. I mean, it's just such a different feeling to do that if you've never done it. And so I was like, right, I'm going to learn that from my clients. And so, long story short, I started that stuff from live video. I found this little hack online because I was wanting to get captions on Facebook because, you know, people do not look at video long. I mean, 3 to 7 seconds is all you have before people start swiping along. And when are people looking at video? It's all day long. It's in meetings, it's at work, it's blah, blah, blah. But they often don't necessarily have headphones in. So they have their phone on silent and they're just scrolling while they're supposed to be at lunch listening to someone or in a meeting, you know, and instead of doing, you know, really being present, sadly, we're on our phones. I mean, that's what we're doing with ourselves. So oh no, my feather. Oh, who knew that this feather was probably not, this feather was probably not meant to be used like this so much. And I've been using it so much. So, it's in there. Yay. Good to know. I'm going to be gentle with my pins. I've just been throwing this thing around. I'm going to be gentle with my feather pin. It does help get this video back in focus though. Look at that. Okay. Anyway, so I love feather pins. This is on the ADS Christmas wish list, by the way. So be sure to check that out. Yes. So, right. I wanted captions on Facebook because if you're scrolling on silent and you have 3 to 7 seconds to capture someone's attention, then you need captions because besides whatever description or, you know, copy you could provide or text, in other words, you can provide along with that video for people to potentially read. If they're not seeing some kind of text scrolling on the screen, those captions scrolling along the screen for them to know like what you're talking about, what you're saying, you know, it may lose their interest immediately. But if they can at least see something about what you're saying, they may say, ooh, you know, and they may watch a little longer just reading the captions, or they may save that video for later and say, I want to watch that later. You know, or share it with someone so it reminds themselves to watch it later. I do that to people. You know, so that was the reason for starting YouTube, because I saw this hack online that was like, right, you can rip your video, your Facebook Lives off of Facebook, re-upload them to YouTube, and through there you can enter captions. And I figured out I was a very fast typist, so I was like, I'm going to enter these captions And then you can take a SRT file, put it back on Facebook, and boom, you've got captions. So I was like, right, I'm always trying to figure out the most cost-efficient way to do things. And so that was how I was getting my captions in the beginning. And it's just so funny, obviously, because you have to put those videos on YouTube. I was like, well, I'm the ADS agency. I cannot have a blank, naked channel up here. It's got to be branded. It's got to be us. So then I went about getting a cover art done, and then you learn all about branded thumbnails, for your channel, and then it just keeps spiraling it. And lo and behold, I really wanted a custom URL, but then I learned you can't get a custom URL for your channel unless you have 100 subscribers. So then that was the new carrot, get 100 subscribers. So I was asking everyone, like, please help me get 100 subscribers. At the time I only had like 20. And YouTube is a hard place to get subscribers. It is unlike any other platform you've ever been on. And so anyway, I'm telling this whole story all over again. I have another video all about this. So you can watch the video about how to get 200 YouTube subscribers in 5 months, which is essentially what happened. And now we're at 313 as of today. Thank you to each and every one of you who are here, especially the ones who keep showing up consistently. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching these videos. I do appreciate you sincerely. I mean, this wouldn't exist without you. So thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, the YouTube was new this year. And so now instead of with Facebook Live, I was doing like one video a month, and I would like bring someone on and interview them, and it would be Facebook Live, and I'd rip it over to YouTube. So I was doing like, before 2018 hit, I was only doing like one video a month on YouTube, and it was really more so for Facebook. Now the strategy has flipped and it's all about YouTube. And I've been sucked into YouTube world. I'm sucked into YouTube world. And so now I have like 55 videos. I was doing a video once a week, but obviously now I started doubling that. That was a Q4 goal, a fourth quarter goal, is to start doubling that number. People are suggesting you should do a video a day, but I'm like, oh, that's excessive. Who will watch my videos every day? I don't watch anybody's content every day, but so I don't know if I'll ever do that, but I did say I'm gonna try that idea because it's just recommended by so many people. Sunny Lenarduzzi and oh gosh, who's everybody's Sean and Andrew Can. So many people recommend doing. The more you increase the frequency of your videos, the more subscribers and stuff you'll get. And it must be like a YouTube algorithm thing, really. So it has helped. I have seen subscriber count, steadily increase for various reasons. So anyway, let me get off my YouTube thing. It's a fun world to figure out. I like a challenge. YouTube has provided a wonderful challenge this year. Through that, I've learned Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm not a super guru at it, but I'm good enough to be able to add in music, add in text that I want that's consistent, my logo, add in imagery, even add in B-roll footage, so all these things that I did not know how to do whatsoever before personally. I may hire that for a company if I was working at a company doing marketing management and marketing directing. I would hire someone to do this, but as an entrepreneur, we're always trying to save a buck. So therefore, you learn how to do a lot of this yourself. So this is the year of YouTube. It's been an awesome, amazing journey. And it's definitely continuing into 2019. Would love to hear your comments about like what you want to see from us in 2019. So that was cool. 55 videos, 313 subscribers right now. It might not seem like a lot, but I know a lot of entrepreneurs who've tried the YouTube world and they've been operating for years and they may have 5 subscribers or 20. They just don't know how to figure out this world of YouTube and all the analytics that go into it and all the things you have to know. So it's been awesome to me to get to this point in this year. I would love to be one of those people who were like, I got 10,000 subscribers in my first year. That was not me, nor was it anything I was trying to do. But I'm happy with the 313 we've got right now, and I hope it keeps growing. So thank you again. I'm gonna get off my YouTube kick. And again, the podcast was cool. So we've got 35 podcasts out there. we might hit 50 by the end of the year. That could be great, you know. And so that was interesting, like learning the podcast world. How do you go about doing that? How do you create a podcast? What's the equipment you need? How do you edit audio? You know, and then how do you like market it, and how do you get it out on distribution channels and all this, like iTunes and everything, you know, like that's another world. It's such a big learning curve. So YouTube and podcast has been a learning experience for me. And another learning experience was ebooks. So that was on my list this year. I really wanted to write an ebook, and I did. And I really wanted it to be for the entrepreneur, for the DIY marketing entrepreneur. You got to figure out this world of marketing for yourself. And so I wanted like a simple tool, like here's the basics. If you want a good solid foundation on the basics of marketing and branding for your business and how to figure that out and how to budget, how do you set goals for yourself and your business, you know, and how do you set a plan forward that makes sense for you, all of that is in my ebook called Authentic Marketing Magic, and it is still available free for you right now up until the end of the year, up until the end of 2018. If you see this after 2018, I'm sorry. You see these it's jingle bell time. It's Christmas time right now in 2018. So if you don't get this by 2019, it's going to be $3-ish on Amazon. So it's not too bad, but you can get it free right now. So that will be in the link below. Look for Authentic Marketing Magic. That's the ebook. And that was a learning experience. I've never done an ebook by myself. If a client we offer ebooks for clients, but with that, I mean, we would pay someone to do that. And so for me, I was like, I'm always wanting to know like the ground level way to do it first. And I don't know why I have to do this. I just have to know how things work. And so I want to do it myself and learn. And if it's the fugly first thing, as we call it, you know, use just the fugly first thing and you just roll with it. And so I was like, right, I'll be the little sacrificial lamb. I'm really sad about my pen. Maybe I should leave it alone, but I really love it. I'm going to be real gentle with it. I'll use my other pen next time. Anyway, so yeah, the ebook world, I learned so much. I should probably do a video on what I learned with the ebooks, but that was a goal for this year. I wanted to write that for entrepreneurs, and I did it. My mother saw that. She was like, when did you have a time to write an ebook? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know when I had time to write an ebook, but I did, you know, so I'm like so excited about that. So ebook, podcast, YouTube, all happened this year. Learning Adobe Premiere Pro, all happened this year. I was in a pitch competition, a government contracting pitch competition. I've never had a government contract before. I didn't know what I was doing. People were like, you should enter the contest. And I was like, really? You know, so for various reasons, I entered that and learned so much there as well, and made it to the semifinalist round out of like however many contestants, 50 contestants or whatever. I was like in the final 10, and I know I put on a good showing because I was proud of myself after that thing, and I didn't place it in the final 3. However, I was happy for the people who did and for the final winner. She was great. And so it was just such a wonderful learning experience. So the other thing I got to do this year was to go to DC, and I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. If you ever have seen ladies put their pinkies up in the air, that is representative of the finest sorority in the world, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which was founded in 1908 at Howard University in Minor Hall. And so I had the opportunity to go to Minor Hall this year, and it was just such a wonderful, beautiful experience to be in the place where my sorority's founders once stood and created this mega brand. It is a brand. Alpha Kappa Alpha is a brand, just like Kappa Alpha Psi and Omega Psi Phi and all those Black Greek letter organizations, as well as IPHC as well. You know, but these really have long-lasting life legacies that people aspire to. And so it was amazing to be able to do that. That was cool this year. Again, I'm not talking about what I did not get to do. I'm talking about the things that were accomplished that I was like, yay, that's awesome. Had overseas work this year. So we're a global company. You know, we have global experience with a local touch. That's what we give our clients with ADS. And so we did have overseas work this year. That was with a 195 million euro acquisition. It was awesome. That was work in Germany, Denmark, Italy, Scotland, and Missouri. So that was like, for half a year, it was leftover from 2017. So that was supposed to be a 3-month project. It turned into 6 months. 6 months turned into 9 months, and then a year. So that lasted like 4 times as long as it was supposed to. So that kind of like shifted my priorities throughout the year. However, I was so grateful for that work and the experience and the cool stuff we got to do for that client. Essentially, that was really cool. I have plenty of lessons learned, so I'll be working on a blog post for that, lessons learned in 2018 and year 2 of business. So many lessons learned there. Trust was one of them. I have a video about that. Yes. Let's see what else here. Beach trip. So that was so fun, doing a beach trip with my family. And, you know, sometimes you're like, I don't have time for this. Well, I don't have time to pack up and leave. I got work to do, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you something. Take the time to do this stuff. It is absolutely awesome. Take the time to do this stuff with your family. I mean, I'm still looking back at that beach trip and those pictures, and it was just such a beautiful time and such a nice getaway. You know, so that was a good highlight of the year. I made a YouTube checklist. It was my first kind of like lead magnet, so to speak, for ADS. So YouTube checklist on how to get your first 200 subscribers as a real entrepreneur, not as just somebody who's just a YouTuber trying to get a lot of views and you're talking about whatever, but this is for business. For business, how can real entrepreneurs get 200 subscribers? In 5 months, that was a nice YouTube checklist I did. I'll link to that too. Surviving year 2 of business, that was a great accomplishment. Say if you can make it to like year 5, that's a great goal. And then year 10, of course, is another great goal. So that's cool too. And then being on that panel in Charleston, I'm going to call that a cool accomplishment. So that was kind of out of nowhere, but I said yes. You know, I've learned to like certain things you just don't say no to if you can help it. So, went to Charleston and did that awesome panel. That was fairly recently, so that was cool. And did a radio interview recently with my friend Carl Callender with his On the Ledge radio show. That was really fun and just cool to do. It was cool to see, you know, like how, you know, where does everybody else work and what are their daily workspaces like and that kind of thing. So that was awesome. So that's where I am on my 2018 year review. That's what I'm looking at so far, the highlights. There's probably more, but those are my highlights that I could see. And again, share your highlights with me. I want to know about your highlights for 2018. What happened in your year? What cool things happened in your world? I'd love to know about that. And also, don't forget your grateful journal. I'm going to go get my grateful journal and show it to you right now. 2 seconds. I probably have to take this thing off. Okay, so this is my grateful journal. It has been used before a little bit, so it's got a couple pages already done in it. But it's nothing fancy. It's just a normal little journal, but it is cute. I mean, it's like, you know, like muslin or something, and it just says journal on it. Somebody gave this to me. So this is where I've been keeping grateful stuff. Sadly, the last time I've written it was March of this year, so shame on me. This is why I wanted to revive this with you. But when I did it, it was awesome. So I want to make this a sincere practice in 2019. It's really why I'm like, gratefulness is about to be my word in 2019, gratefulness, because that's where joy comes from. And we were meant to live a joyful life. And I believe that if you are operating in joy, you become a magnet. You draw everything you need to yourself in life because of that. So, and I've already known that to be true. It's true right now. So, gratefulness journal. I'm just going to read some of this to myself. All right, so this is so good to look back on at any time. Anytime you're feeling crazy, you know, flip back through your gratefulness journal. I promise you'll be smiling within seconds of reading it. It can be personal. Again, you're just writing 3 to 5 things a day about your day, specific things, you know, that you're grateful for, even if it's small, even if it's tiny, you know, like, glad I got a chance to put up my Christmas decor because I love my Christmas decor. It makes me happy to see it. It's sparkly, it's holiday, it makes me feel awesome. You know, glad to have the opportunity to do these videos for you. I'm grateful for that and for the equipment you know, that I get to use, and it works great. And, you know, and I get great compliments on these videos. One of my friends, he's like a videographer, you know, he's like a smaller videographer for a church and all that. But I mean, like, you know, when I met him, he knew far more than I ever would at that time about videos. And now he's looked at some stuff that I recently posted on Facebook on my personal account, and he was like, "Are you doing those yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah." You know, I was kind of like asking, like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And he was like, "No," because he was like, "They're really good." And he was asking about, like, what equipment was I using, and, you know, what program was I using to edit it, and the fonts I'm using and all that. So I was like, wow, he is impressed. So, you know I'm still small time. However, it's such an accomplishment for me personally to be able to put myself out of my element and learn some of this stuff. And it's been an awesome, amazing journey with all of this. So again, tell me about what's great, good in your world for 2018. What are some of the cool accomplishments you've looked forward to? I've had great clients come on board this year. I've had great clients stick with me this year who've been with me since the beginning of ADS 2 years ago. So grateful for each and every one of them. Like, these lights would not be on without those people. And the bills would not be getting paid, you know, so, and I get to do it, you know, doing something I love to do, which is this marketing and branding space and helping people be thoughtful about how their brand moves and is shaped in this world. It's just great. All right. And that's all I've got for you today. Sorry to keep you so long, but, you know, again, tell me about your 2018, people. I want to hear about it, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers. Mwah.